Snowmobile hand signals. How important are they? What are they? Do you have to use them? Let's talk about it. How's it going, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the channel. My name is David Clark, and this is My Old Sled, the channel for people that like old sleds. Today's video, we're going to be talking about snowmobile hand signals. So there is some debate about the use of snowmobile hand signals, and there's some discrepancies between the different signals that people use. So I'm going to talk about all of that in this video, but first, I'm going to take this old 670 out for a rip.
So Victor was actually asking me if I could do some video with the 670. Sure, Victor, I can do that. This old sled is so much fun to ride. Now I gotta say, now that I've been riding both, do I still think it was a good idea to upgrade? There's a lot of advantages in my newer sled, but this thing, it really gets up and goes. It's a nice machine. A lot of fun with it. If I had a better track that would hook up a little bit better in some deeper snow, and a riser so I could pull it over a little bit better when I'm going over drifts and that. But it's a nice sled. Yeah, I would say for trail riding, a lot of guys might even prefer this 670. It really is kind of a nice, smooth ride. You can kind of drift around corners with it.
Oh, this thing is still fun. Let's talk about hand signals. The reason we have hand signals for snowmobiles is that other than your tail light, you don't really have anything on the sled to let other riders know what you're about to do. So if you've ever had anybody turn in front of you without indicating, then you know what I'm talking about. But there are arguments for and against using hand signals. And I know that there's some diehard trail enthusiasts or safety instructors out there that threw up in their mouth a little bit when I said that, but it's true. Some people have very strong opinions against using hand signals. Now, one of the things that social media has done for us is teach us that we don't have to talk to each other. So if my opinion is different than your opinion, all you have to do is come up with a creative way to tell me why I'm stupid. I don't think that's the best way to approach an issue. And I've seen some really heated discussions on the topic of hand signals, and it goes a little bit like this. Of course you have to use hand signals. It's a no-brainer. How else am I going to know you're about to turn? No, you should never use hand signals. If you're on the trail with me, keep your hands on the handlebars. And like a lot of things in life, there's some truth in both positions. Now, another argument you get about using hand signals is most of them are done with the left hand, right? So whichever hand you're using, you either can't get to your throttle or can't get to your brake. So that's the one argument you sometimes hear, and it's a valid point, that if I'm signaling and I suddenly need to brake, then I have to get down to the brake lever. You know, if I think back to my first couple of rides on a trail, I was sort of aware of hand signals, but I hadn't done a lot of trail riding. It wasn't really ingrained in me. So when I see sleds coming towards me and they put their hands up, I think they're waving at me and I wave back. I'm pretty sure that they were annoyed by that. But you know what? For every experienced rider that I've seen signal me on the trail, I've seen 10 new, inexperienced riders bumping along on a rough trail, hanging onto those handlebars for all they're worth. I gotta tell you, if I encounter an inexperienced rider coming around a curve on a trail coming towards me, I'd be just as happy if he's hanging on with both hands. But at the same time, if I got a bunch of riders behind me and I'm about to turn left on the trail, if we don't have headsets, it's pretty much the only way to let them know what I'm about to do. So should you use hand signals or shouldn't you? Well, some of that's going to depend where you ride too, right? Obviously, if you're riding out in the backcountry, you know, in the bush in Alaska, then you're not going to use hand signals like you would on a trail. If you're riding trail, do I think you should use hand signals? I'm going to tell you at the end of this video what I think on that subject. But I think for sure you should know what they are anyway, because even if you're not going to use them, I think it's important that you know what another rider is signaling to you. So the Ministry of Transport of Ontario Handbook for new drivers actually has snowmobile hand signals in them. There is a few discrepancies in some of these signals depending on the source that I look, and I'll point them out when I get to them. To indicate a turn, they're the same bicycle signals that you learned back in school. So a left turn is your arm straight out to the left, and a right turn is your left arm out and up at a 90-degree angle. Okay, the stop hand signal is one of the ones I see a discrepancy in. So if I look at the MTO handbook, it says to use your right hand. Some of the other courses that I've seen say to use your left. I think it probably makes more sense to use your right hand because you can access the brake lever with your left. But either way, it's your arm straight up indicates a stop. Next one is to indicate that you're slowing your sled and to direct the people behind you to do the same. So if you want to indicate that you're slowing, according to the MTO handbook, it's arm out at a down angle, and then you kind of flap up and down like this to say slow down. Some versions of this hand signal, you'll see arm out, slightly bent, maybe angled backwards a little bit, just like this. Okay, the next one is to signal that you see oncoming sleds. So if you got riders behind you and they see you doing this, so your upper arm parallel to the ground and then you're indicating to the right side of the trail, that means there are sleds coming up. Make sure that you get over. Now you should always be riding on the right hand side of the trail anyway, because you never know when somebody's going to come around a corner. Okay, next one we're going to talk about is sleds following. So this is where you're letting the guy that's coming towards you know there's other riders behind you. So he doesn't just go around you and then rip thinking the way is clear. So this is another one, there's some discrepancy between what I see in some of the course material. So some of them it will indicate that you're putting a number of fingers up to say how many sleds are behind you. In the MTO handbook, what it says is left arm out, again upper arm is parallel to the ground, and then you use your thumb like a hitchhiker front to back to say there's sleds behind me. Okay, the last one is last sled in line. So you're in a group of snowmobilers and you're letting an oncoming sled know that you're the last one in the group. So in the MTO handbook, it's left arm up with a fist clenched. It means I'm last sled in the line. Now, because I see so much discrepancy in the different signals that people use, I would say, A, learn them all, and then you know what another rider is trying to tell you, even if the signal is different than the one that you use. But the other thing I would say is don't just go by what I'm showing you. Look up the hand signals that are recognized and in use in your riding area. All right, so those are snowmobile hand signals. What do I think? Should you use them? Shouldn't you use them? I think, like a lot of things, that depends. I think it's a really good idea to let oncoming sleds or sleds behind you know what it is that you're about to do, if you feel comfortable and safe doing so. If you feel that you can let go of one of your handlebars and signal another rider and still be safe and in control, then I would say do it. If you don't, if you're on rough terrain or you're coming around a curve or you don't feel comfortable letting go of the handlebars, then I would say don't. All right, guys, now I want to hear from you. Do you use hand signals? Don't use hand signals? Why? What's your opinion? Post something in the comments below. All right, guys, I hope you found that video useful. If you did, do me a favor and hit that thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed already, hit the subscribe button, click that little bell icon. You'll get notified whenever I post a new video. So I think that's it for this video. Until next time, I'm Dave Clark. Thanks for taking the time to watch. So the reason we have heated shields. Now I know on social media we don't bumping along like this on a rough trail, just trying for all their